Hi there, and welcome to Lost in Literature. I'll be continuing with Act 1, Scene 3 of Julius Caesar today. But before we start, I want you to think about how Shakespeare could have created an atmosphere, a dramatic atmosphere in his play. Um, For instance, today we have very sophisticated means of producing the effect on stage with lights and sound. But in those days, when Shakespeare's plays were put up in the Elizabethan times, he did not have such sophisticated missionary techniques. So, how did he achieve it? Well, Shakespeare um, made his characters suggest the atmosphere with the kind of words they used. They would keep commenting on, you know, the weather and the dramatic things that happened around the place. And that is exactly what he's doing in this particular scene, where things are now slowly escalating. The plot is thickening, okay? And things are now slowly coming to a point where there is sure to be action. Okay, the assassination of Caesar is already underway. Okay, all right. Um, Scene 3, it's a street, and there's a lot of thunder and lightning. And once again, another method he uses to create atmosphere is to have his characters holding weapons like swords and whatnots. So you have Casca entering here brandishing a sword because he is terrified with the kind of things that he sees around the place. All right? So uh, Casca is out on the street, waving his sword around, and suddenly you have Cesaro kind of meeting Casca on the street. So Cesaro says, "Good evening, Casca. Brought you Caesar home? Why are you breathless? And why stare you so? So, did you escort Caesar home yesterday? And look at this. The conspirators are really shadowing, following, trying to be with Caesar to find out what his plans are for the next day so that they can plan their action accordingly." So um, Cesaro's asking, "Did you escort Caesar home?" Because that is something he had noted. And then he says, "Now, why have you become so breathless? And what are you staring about in this funny fashion?" So Casca says, "Are you not moved when all the sway of earth, when the earth, the entire land, rocks, everything that's normally firm is shaking like anything? Oh, Cesaro, I have seen tempests." So he says, "Look, I have seen storms. When the scolding winds, the raging powerful winds have rived, split the knotty oaks." So this is something I have seen where the wind is so powerful that it has split, broken into two, the knotty oaks. Knotty, when you say knotty, it's the base of the oak, the roots literally all knotted up, looking quite gnarled, and indicating that the tree is quite old, quite strong, and quite a mature tree. And such a tree has been split into two by lightning. So you can imagine how powerful the weather must have been, the lightning. "And I have seen the ambitious ocean swell, rage, and foam." And now he's commenting on the waves. He says, "I've seen the waves overreaching, literally beyond their limits, trying to touch the clouds. And these clouds, mind you, are lowered, dark, forbidding. All right? And all this to be exalted with the threatening clouds. So that's how the sky is, full of thunder and lightning, and the ocean overreaching itself. And now these are the kind of storms that Casca has witnessed in the past. But he says, never till tonight, never till tonight, never till now did I go through a tempest dropping fire. So, this is the first time I'm seeing a storm which is literally dropping fire from the sky. I've never seen this kind of a thing before. And he says, well, since this is a strange phenomenon, perhaps there is a civil war, a civil strife in heaven, or else the world has made the gods angry, furious with their cheeky, rude insolence. And that is why the gods are sending down this kind of fire from the sky to destroy mankind. Cicero, why? Now, Cicero is a very, very skeptical fellow. He says, why? Saw you anything more wonderful? Tell me, I'm ready to listen. I don't believe in all this rubbish. Casca, a common slave, you know him well, by sight, held up his left hand, and what did I see? Casca says it was flaming and burning with the power of 20 torches joined with the combined power and light of 20 torches, and yet his hand seemed absolutely untouched by the fire. And what was more, he was not even aware of the fact that his hand was burning. So now that is a really strange sight. So he says, besides, now I have not since put up my sword. So now he's giving the explanation for flashing about his sword. He says, I've not put my sword away because this is not a normal evening, a normal night. And then again, another unusual event. Against the capital, near the capital, I met a lion. Now, it's not normal for people to go out into the streets and meet lions, all right? So he says, I met a lion. And this particular lion did not even attack me. Can you believe it? It just glared at me, stared at me, and then it went away looking very bad tempered. And it didn't even injure me. Now, that is another strange thing. And they were drawn, yet another sight, amazing sight that he saw. And they were drawn upon a heap, right? On a heap, 100 ghastly looking, horrible looking women, a group of them, and they were all overcome with terror. And they swore that they saw men completely in fire walking up and down the streets. And yet again, one more sight. And yesterday, the bird of night, the owl, that sat even at noonday. It sat where? In the marketplace. Have you heard of it? Now, owl is a nocturnal bird, and it normally sleeps during the day. And Casca says there it was in the marketplace, hooting away to glory. And now he says, when these prodigies, unnatural events occur together, do so conjointly meet, happen simultaneously. Let not men say, these are their reasons, that's how they behave as per their nature, because it's not natural. So let no one tell me these things are natural, for I believe that they are portentous things. These are omens, signs that something bad is going to happen in the region, upon the climate that they point. Something bad is going to happen in Rome, which is why we are witnessing these things. And Cicero says, indeed, it's a strange disposed time. Really, these are strange times. But men may construe things after their own fashion. So men will interpret all these occurrences according to their wish and will, and in their own way, after their own fashion, and it may not even mean what it is supposed to mean to them. It may not indicate anything unusual to them. Then he says, come, Caesar to the capital tomorrow? Is Caesar coming to the capital tomorrow? Because he knows that Casca had escorted him home. So Casca says he does. He's coming. Because he did bid Antonius, that's Antony, Mark Antony, he did bid Antonius send word to you that he would be there tomorrow. Now, why did Caesar send word to Cicero? Because Cicero was a very high ranking consul. He had a lot of clout, a lot of power in the Senate House. All right? And naturally, this information had to get to Cicero so that, the Senate could prepare in advance what they are going to offer Caesar. All right? Because he has returned all her confident, riding high on victory after having defeated Pompey, and he definitely expected some kind of promotion, all right? In the Senate, he expected definitely something for the valor that he has shown. So Cicero says, good night then, Casca. This disturbed sky is not fit to walk in. So please get you home. This is not the kind of night when you should be wandering around. And Casca says farewell and he kind of moves on. And at that time, Cassius comes along. And you see the stage is dimly lit. All right? Not with the sophistication of how the lights can be on stage today. But it's altogether dimly lit. So Cassius walks in and he sees the silhouette of a man. He's not able to figure out who it is. Now, these are times when they have to be very cautious because now already there are two factions, people who support Caesar and people who don't. So he says, who's there? Casca says, I'm a Roman. Equally cautious. He doesn't reveal his identity. He says, I am a Roman. Then Cassius says, oh, you're Casca by your voice. Casca, your ear is good. Cassius, what night is this? So he's commenting on the night, what a terrible night. And Cassius says, it's a very pleasing night to honest men. People like us have a clear conscience, so it's very pleasing. There's nothing wrong with the night. It's pleasing. Casca, but whoever knew the heavens menace so? We've never experienced this kind of, weather, this kind of a storm with the entire, the skies, raging about in this fashion. This is something different. So Cassius says, those that have known the earth so full of faults. Now, such people only could have ever experienced so much turbulence in the weather, not others. And look at this. He says, for my part, I have walked about the streets, submitting me unto the perilous night, the dangerous night, and thus unembraced completely exposed and open to the weather because he has removed, I mean, um, opened, unfastened his cloak, his doublet. All right. So he says, here I am, submitting myself, surrendering to this dangerous night. And as you see, I have literally exposed my chest, my bosom, to the thunderstorm, to the elements, all right? The elements of the storm. And when the cross blue lightning seemed to rip open literally the breast of heaven, it's like the lightning is tearing the skies apart violently. Even then, I presented myself to the eye of the storm, even in the aim and very flash of it. So he says, I'm not scared of such night. Casca says, but wherefore did you so much tempt the heavens? Now, why would you tempt the heavens in such a manner? It is a part of men to fear and tremble. It's natural for people to fear this kind of weather. When the most mighty gods, by tokens, send such dreadful heralds, such omens, heralds, messengers with bad omens to terrify us, to astonish us. So when these omens are being sent, we have to be afraid. It is frightening. Cassius says, oh, you're dull, Casca. And those sparks of life that should be in a Roman, you do want. You have to be more lively, more daring. That is missing in you. Otherwise, why would you be scared? Look at me, walking in the eye of the storm. I'm not afraid. Or else you use it not. Either you lack these qualities of valor, or maybe you're not utilizing it. You look pale and gaze and put on fear and cast yourself in wonder. So there you are, you're losing color in your face and you are completely confused and filled with terror and amazement at whatever is happening, to see the strange impatience, the restlessness of the heavens, of the skies. And if you would consider, think about the true reason, if you would think about the true reason why all these fires, all right, why all these gliding ghosts, smoothly moving ghosts, all right, why all these things are, out moving around, why birds and beasts from quality and kind. All right, all these birds, why have they departed? Why have they changed from their usual behavior? And why old men, fools, and children calculate? See, in the Elizabethan times, old men, fools, and children were equipped with powers to prophesy. They were intuitive. They were not men given to reason. They could prophesy. And suddenly now these people are calculating. They are, more um, amenable, rather, they are given to reason. So he says that's also different from their usual behavior. Now, why are all these things happening? Their natures and preformed faculties, predetermined behavior, why have they changed to monstrous quality? This kind of a ghastly, frightening quality. Why? You shall find that heavens hath infused them with these spirits. So it is the heaven kind of filling them with these odd, with these odd ways of behavior. All right, it has infused them, filled them, to make them instruments, the means of fear and warning to us. So to make them instruments of fear and warning unto some monstrous state. So these are the signs that something dreadful is going to happen. All right, so keep that in mind. And now, could I, Casca, name to thee a man most like this dreadful night? Now, I can tell you which man is like this dreadful night that thunders and lightens and opens graves and roars, as doth the lion in the capital. Why are all these strange things happening? Because there is a man, and he is no mightier than you or me. All right? In personal action, in his deeds, he's not mightier than you or me. And yet, prodigious grown, he has become a threatening force, and he is as fearful as all these supernatural outbreaks are. So, can I name such a man to you? And Casca says, it's Caesar that you mean. Is it not Cassius? Cassius, let it be who it is. For Romans now have thews and limbs like to their ancestors. He says, let it be anyone, because the times have fallen. Everything is contrastive to something else. The times have fallen, and Romans now have only muscular strength like their ancestors. But woe the while, alas for the time. Our fathers' minds are dead. The fathers' mind, brave minds which were in us, which we had inherited, they are dead. And we are ruled by our mothers' spirits. And in the bargain, we are enduring, tolerating the oppression, all right, cast upon us. We are tolerating this oncoming dictatorship. Rome is going to stop being a republic. And we are tolerating this just like women without any guts. Casca, indeed, they say the senators tomorrow mean to establish Caesar as a king, and he shall wear his crown by sea and land in every place save here in Italy. So that's what's going to happen tomorrow, because the Senate has already decided to crown Caesar and establish him as the supreme power. But he will be given sway only over land and sea, the places that he has conquered. And he will have no power in Italy itself. That would be barred to him. Then Cassius says, oh, yes, I know where I will wear this dagger then. Okay, if they are going to invest him with power, I know where I'm going to wear this dagger. I know how I'm going to use it. Cassius from bondage, from slavery, will deliver Cassius. I will free myself with this sword. I will take my life away rather than tolerate such a political situation in Rome. Therein, ye gods, you make the weak most strong. That is how, gods, you make weak people like us strong. We stand up, face the situation, and take action. Therein, ye gods, you tyrants do defeat. You're going to defeat Caesar when we kill ourselves. Nor stony tower, nor walls of beaten brass, nor airless dungeon, nor strong links of iron. None of these things which hold people in captivity can hold on to its capacity to imprison people. None of these things, neither prisons, nor dungeons, nor towers, nor walls with bars, nothing can bar human beings. None of these have the strength to retain the spirit of man, which is stronger than all these. But life, being weary of these worldly bars, never lacks power to dismiss itself. All right? So that is how it is. Life never lacks when people are tired of this kind of oppression. They would still be brave enough to put an end to this situation by taking their life. If I know this, no, all the world besides the rest of the world knows it too. Look, I know how to escape from tyranny. So does the rest of the world. All right? That part of tyranny that I do bear, I can shake off at pleasure. So don't imagine, even for a single minute, that I'm going to tolerate this situation. No way. I'll take my life off, but I will not put up with this, Casca. So can I. So every bondman in his own hand bears the power to cancel his captivity. So he says, now every man who is treated like a slave by Caesar will definitely pull out the dagger and kill himself. He will cancel his captivity. He will free himself. Cassius. And why should Caesar be a tyrant then? So he says, if all of us have the courage to kill ourselves and there is nobody around, why would Caesar be a tyrant? There is nobody around for him to boss over. Poor man. I know he would not be a wolf, but that he sees the Romans are but sheep. So he says, if the Romans had not behaved like sheep, just following every man and giving him the status of a leader, why would Caesar become a wolf and try to command, boss over the men? He does so only because the Romans are acting like sheep in an inferior manner, following him. He were no lion, were not Romans hinds, the deer, in people behaving like deer in Rome. Deer, they are very gentle creatures. So he says he wouldn't be a lion if people behaved in a chivalrous, in a gallant, brave manner and killed themselves. If there were no hinds in Rome, why would he be a lion? Those that with haste will make a mighty fire, begin it with weak straws. People who are in a big hurry to make a fire make it with weak straws. They don't have the time to go around searching for strong logs, all right, to start a good fire. They will start a fire with weak straws. And what trashes Rome, what rubbish, what awful. Look at that. He's comparing Rome to trash, rubbish, litter, literally awful remains of animals and humans, entrails, all right, intestines, literally. When it serves for the base matter to illuminate so vile a thing as Caesar. He says Rome is literally trash when it can just illuminate somebody as evil as Caesar. And all these weak Romans are now igniting this fire, all right, which will illuminate Caesar as the power supreme, all right? But oh grief, it's really sad. Where hast thou led me? Grief. He's personifying grief here. Where have you led me? I perhaps speak this before a willing bondman. Now again, Look at Cassius, he's so clever. He wants to know whether Casca's totally with him. So he says, maybe I'm speaking in front of a willing slave, somebody who is ready to become a bondsman. All right, somebody who's happy to serve under Caesar. Then I know my answer must be made. If I'm so, he's going to let the powers know and they're going to deal with me, and I must be ready to pay the penalty for going against the government, the so called government that's coming up. But I am prepared. How am I prepared? These dangers are I'm indifferent. These dangers are to me indifferent. All right? Because I'm going to take my life off. So it's all the same. I care a damn. I'm going to take my life off. Casca then says, you speak to Casca. Now Casca is throwing his lot openly with Cassius. So he says, you speak to Casca, and to such a man that is no flaring telltale. I'm not going to betray you. Flaring. I'm not the betraying kind. All right? And I'm not a telltale that I'll go and sneak about all this. Hold my hand. Be factious. Question what's going on. Be argumentative. Go against it, because only that will, you know, correct this situation. Only being factious will, no, factious, I'm sorry, will kind of redress, you know, make all right all these griefs, offenses. And I will set this foot of mine as far as who goes furthest. I'm with you, Cassius, and I will go far, and I will do whatever you want me to do. So Cassius says, there is a bargain made. We've got a deal. Now, know you, Casca? Now, let me tell you, I have moved already some certain of the noblest minded Romans. I've already moved some very noble people. Of course, he means Brutus, to undergo with me an enterprise. These people will undertake with me an enterprise, a mission, an operation. Operation Delete Caesar, of honorable, dangerous consequence. Or, you know, a mission that will be really honorable, and yet it will be risky. And I do know by this they stay for me. And right now I know that such men who are with me and who think like me and who want to act and save Rome from Caesar, they are waiting in Pompey's porch. They're all there in the theater built by Pompey. For now, this fearful night, there is no stir or walking in the streets. Okay? And the complexion of the element, the kind of weather, and the condition of the sky is like our work at hand. He's comparing all the things happening around, the storm, the terrible fire falling from the sky. All this, he says, is just like the work we have ahead of us. And that is the assassination of Caesar. And it is going to be most bloody, fiery, and most terrible. That's the kind of work we have in hand, and that is how the weather is. Casca, stand close a while, for here comes one in haste. He says, stand close, be hidden, because these are dangerous times. And there is somebody coming quickly. Enter Cinna, yet another of the conspirators. Cassius, it's Cinna. I do know him by the manner in which he walks. He's a friend. He's one of us. Cinna, Where haste you so? To find out you. Cinna says, I've been looking out for you. I'm walking around to find you. Who's that? Now he's talking about Casca. He says, who's that? See again, the stage is continuing to be in darkness. They're not able to identify people, the identity of the people there. It's all, they can only see the silhouettes of characters. So he says, is that Metellus Simba? Then Cassius says, no, it is Casca, and one incorporate to our attempts. He is one of us. All right? He's one of us, conspirators. And he goes on, am I not stayed for Cinna? Are they waiting for me? The people in Pompey's porch? So, I mean, are they still there? Or have they changed their mind and gone? Cinna says, I'm glad on it. I'm very glad about it. What a fearful night this is. So he's not giving a precise answer here. He says, I'm glad on it. And he's referring here to Casca being one of them. That's what he's doing. And he is ignoring Cassius's question as to the rest of them are still waiting at Pompey's porch, the theatre that he has built. And then he remarks on the night. What a fearful night this is turning out to be. And there is 2 or 3 of us, we have seen strange sights. Now there are more and more people who have seen strange sights. Cassius, am I not stayed for? Tell me. So he's repeating his question. Are they waiting for me? Are they still with us? Yes, you are. Yes, they are very much waiting for you. O Cassius, if you could but win the noble Brutus to our party, if only you could win Brutus to our party, it would be so appropriate. It would be wonderful. Then Cassius says, be you content, all right? Be you content. All right, be satisfied. And don't worry, good sinner, take this paper. Now he's written all these letters, as if he's, some citizen or the other addressing Brutus to take action and to, save Rome from Caesar. So he's giving all these letters to Cinna. He says, take this paper and look you, lay it in the praetor's chair. Leave it in the praetor's chair. Now, who is the praetor? Praetor here is Brutus. Caesar had appointed him as a magistrate in the court to take up, minor cases. So, Brutus worked in that capacity for Caesar. So he says, take it, put it directly in the chair where Brutus, the praetor, the magistrate, sits, so he cannot ignore it. He will pick it up and read it, where Brutus may but find it, and throw this in, all right? Throw it at his window. Set this up. Now take this. Now this letter, he's giving another one. Throw it in at his window. It should fall into the room and Brutus should find it and think that some citizen has flung it in. And set this letter, stick it with wax, stick it with wax upon old Brutus's statue. Stick it there and Brutus is sure to see it. And all this done, repair, come to Pompey's porch, where you shall find all of us. And then he says, is Decius Brutus and Trebonius there? See, more and more people are joining the conspirators. So are they there? Cinna says, all are there except Metellus Simba. And he has gone to look for you at your house. Well, I'll hurry, and so bestow these papers as you bade me, as you told me. Now, I will leave these papers, in different places where Brutus is sure to find them. Cassius, that done, repaired to Pompey's theatre. Then you come to Pompey's theatre. Okay, come, Casca. Now he's telling Casca, come, you and I, before it is day, before dawn breaks, see Brutus at his house. 3 parts of him, most of him, is already ours. I have convinced him to join us, and the man entire, the whole man, will be ours in the next meeting. All right, so let's go to his house and let's win him over, Casca. Oh, he sits high in all the hearts of men. He really is noble, and people in Rome have a high regard for Brutus, and that is why it's very important to win him over. But now Casca really gives us the reason why the conspirators want Caesar in their company. So he says, and that which would appear offense in us, like this particular deed of assassinating Caesar, would appear like a grave crime if only we are involved. But his presence with us, his approval, the fact that he partakes in this assassination, just like alchemy. Alchemy is a chemical that turns base metal to gold. Similarly, the very presence of Brutus in our group is going to change this entire deed to appear noble to all the Romans. All right? So it will make our deed seem worthy. All right? In the sense that Romans will be grateful to us and acknowledge the fact that we have saved Rome. If only we can rope in Brutus, because the people of Rome hold him in such high regard. Cassius, him and his worth, and our great need of him. You have right well conceited. You have really expressed it so well, our urgent need of him. Let's go, for it is after midnight, and before day breaks, let's wake him up and ensure that he will join us in our endeavor. So that's it for today. A fairly long act. This has been with all the 3 scenes. So if you like my interpretation, please do subscribe to my channel and just hit a like, and please do view especially if you're students of class 9. I've tried my best to give you a very, very detailed explanation and taken a lot of your time. Hopefully I'll see you again for Act 2. Bye for now.